it's Sophia Hodgson from Rusty Blue 85 and I'm back with another card making video here on my YouTube channel. So I have loads of the Altenew Craft-A-Flower dies. I don't know if you've seen a previous video of mine where I made some daffodils with a die. But so anyway, today I'm going to be making some snowdrops and I'm going to be using some Crafter's Companion stamping card. I get it in bulk and I'm just going to be blending my background and I'm using distress oxides. I'm quite new to distress oxides, but I'm really looking forward to using them on this card. So I've got dried marigold and spun sugar. I think they're very springy colours, but with the distress oxides they're quite muted, and I'm using my Nouveau blending brushes. So I do have the Tailored Expression blending brushes for dye inks, but because these are hybrid inks, I want to use completely different blending brushes for the oxides, so I don't want to cross-contaminate my dye ones. So that's why these aren't the coloured ones that you've seen me use previously. So I'm just blending the spun sugar and the dried marigold using those blending brushes, and I'm getting fingerprints all over it, so I'm just using this spare piece of card just to keep my fingerprints out of it. And I'm happy with the way that background looks, so I've just left it to dry. I'm using some holographic embossing powder, and I just poured that over my distress oxide background because, as you know, distress oxides take a long time to dry. So I just wanted to make sure that the embossing powder wasn't going to stick to the whole background. And I'm happy with that, with how dry that is. So I'm just stamping using the Altenew Pen Sketch Mandala stamp set. I've applied loads of anti-static powder to my background so that I know that the embossing powder will only stick where I want it to. And I'm just arranging that in my stamping platform because I'm going to be stamping a few times with Versamark ink, just to make sure that I get a good impression. You'll see later that I don't get a perfect impression, but it's just to add a little bit of interest to the background. I chose to use holographic embossing powder because it gives a nice sparkle, but it doesn't detract too much from the main focal point, which is going to be my snowdrops today. So I've stamped that a couple of times just to make absolutely sure that I've got most of the impression, and just applying the holographic embossing powder. And you can see that this holographic sparkly stuff gets everywhere, so it's really important to apply the anti-static bag and make sure that the distress oxides are completely dry. So just poured that back into the pot because I have cats and they knock everything over, so making sure that that's sealed and the lid is sealed on. And I'm using my Wow heat tool on the hottest setting. I made sure that I heated it before I took it to the paper, but it's still warped a bit. With the holographic embossing powder, it's really difficult to tell whether or not it has actually dried or not. So you'll see that I end up kind of pulling it towards me and having a really good look. So I end up heat setting the rest of it off camera just because I don't quite know if it's heat set or not. So I'm sorry about that, but if you see the bits that have heat set, aren't they lovely and sparkly? It's really pretty. So it's a clear embossing powder with loads of iridescent glycerin. So now that I'm happy that all of that is heat set, I've added some foam tape to the back. It's 3M foam tape, again from my massive roll that I got on Amazon because I didn't check the sizes. And you can see there that this background is really subtle, but quite, you know, kind of springy. I think we all need some spring now. So off screen, I cut the stems and the leaves from some Stampin' Up! Mossy Meadow cardstock, and the snowdrop flowers from more of the Crafter's Companion stamping card, just so that it's the same as my backing. And I'm just adhering all of the individual petals and the the little green, teeny tiny little green bits that attach them to the stems. This is all quite fiddly, but so worth it in the end. I think that these look beautiful, and I'm definitely going to use this die set a lot more. Sorry for the sniffing. I've the trees are in full bloom where I'm living, so my allergies are in full force. And you can see how teeny tiny and finicky those little green bits are that attach to the stem. And I'm just going to put some music on and let you watch me construct the rest of this, the rest of the focal points of this card, and I'll be back at the end. And in case you didn't know already, I did mention my cats. This is Inara, who loves to come and help me craft. She also wants a good head rub. So photo bombed by the cats. So somebody didn't press record when I was attaching the gems, so I have attached some gems to the front of the card, and I'm just stamping the happy birthday greeting. This is from My Favourite Things, and I used just the birthday word from exactly the same stamp set to stamp with Versamark ink on some more Stampin' Up! Mossy Meadow cardstock. I didn't want to add any more colours into the front of this. I wanted to stick with the green. So stamped on Mossy Meadow and used white embossing powder. And the happy die cut is from, Heffy Doodle. That's it. So the white doodle is from Heffy Doodle, and just adhering that with high-tack glue. And that is essentially the card done. I just need to snip off this excess. And the joys of being left-handed and trying to cut something is quite difficult. But there we go. So that's the card finished. Thank you for watching to the end. Do give this card, this video, a thumbs up if you like the card. It lets me know that you like the content that I'm putting out. If you haven't already subscribed, do consider subscribing. And I hope to see you back here soon. Bye.